Welcome to ScratchStart. In this session, we are going to see how to create a color palette generator. You can see in the browser, this is what the color palette look like. So we are going to generate this. We are going to write the HTML DYM using JavaScript for this required output. This color palette is the required output. So I haven't wrote the JavaScript DOM here, and I also wrote the HTML and CSS stylings as usual. So let's start with the output now. So I will reload, so it won't come. So we have palette to generate a palette and a button to create that event. So we have to create a variable to identify those. Const palette container selected by document get element by id palette and const button element and selected by document get element by id generate. Id is generate. Now we have to create, as I am going to use a for loop for the required output. Before for loop, I am going to introduce a function here. So we can generate the random color codes. Like we did in the previous video, I am going to use the same method here, math floor and math random functions. So to generate random color code, I am creating a function. The function is generate color. Let's inside the function, let's create a variable R, and that variable has math floor, math random, and as I said in the previous video, the color codes will have 255 numbers, so 256. You have to same for all the other thing colors too. See, R, G and B. So we have the three colors. Now we have to create use these three RGB outputs in the RGB color coding code. So for that we have to create an RGB bracket that color code numbers. So for that I am going to use the return keyword here and make it as a string. For R, and then we have G, and then we have the B. Then we have the B. We are using this return because we can, when we use writing the for loop, we can call this RGB because it generates random numbers each time. So when each time this RGB values color code is called, each time the RGB here values will be generated each time. So each time we will get the different RGB numbers values. That is the use of this. So next, for this button, here comes the main part. So to generate the palette, select the button element, given add event listener, the event is click, execute the function, so as you have seen before everything, there is nothing. We haven't created the color palette yet, but if there is another color palette before clicking, if I have, for example, if I have clicked the palette for one time, the one color palette will be generated, but when I click another time, next color palette will be generated, but there will be actual previous one will be present, right? So we have to clear that previous color palette. So to clear the previous palette, select the palette container element and select the inner HTML property and make it as empty. By this way we can clear the previously existing color palettes. Next, for the color palette to exist, I am considering to give 5 colors in a single container. So to give the 5 colors, I am creating an array here to make everything come in a single container. So I am creating an array as colors, named colors. So now, as I said before, we have to create 5 colors now. So for that we will use the for loop, and for the inside the for loop we have to get the condition here. We will set the initial value as 0, and we have to give the condition as I should be less than 5 and I should progress 1 by 1 each time. That means I will be starting from 0 and it will finish when I is 5. When it will continue till when I is less than 5. That means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. When the I reaches 5 is not less than 5. So the condition is false. So it will break the loop. So when it is loop is running, we will create another variable color. For color we will use this generate color function here, and we will push this color into the color. So what is happening here is, what is happening here is, here in the variable color, the generate color here, when we call the generate color here, this generate color function we created previously will be called here. So this RGB color code is already generated by the RGB numbers we extracted through the math floor and math random method. So that color code will be generated. So inside the colors array, this color code will be added. This will be the first color. This will be repeated for the 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. For 5 times this will be repeated in loop until this I less than 5 condition becomes false. So push is a method used to add an element to an array. So it will be given an index number. As I have said in previous class, array can easily add or delete an element. As I was in a previous session I said that array is a dynamic thing, so it can push or delete things too. So next, to put those colors in an order, we need a box like a container. So I am creating another variable box here, and I am doing document. I am creating an element here because the element don't exist here. See, there is no element exist for the separate box here. So create element. We are going to create an element division, and next in the box, let's give it add a class list, and the class will be color box. What is happening here is we have created the division element here. So for that division element we are giving a class color box. That is what happening. It's literally like we are adding a div element here and giving a class color box. That's all. So next we will do things. What will happen here in the color box? So how the colors, these random colors we generated will be entered into this division element. So in the box, give it a style and change the background as color. So what it does is, the line 30 will do is it will fill each create a compartment of colors. That is what happening. So I give a background, so it gives only the colors. If I give only the colors, you can see only the colors. You can't identify what is the color code, like what is the color's name or anything. So I am creating another thing called text content property, and I will give color. What this do is, it will give the text color in text. So for each thing it will be repeated, and inside that box, as I said before, it will generate for 5 times. All the things will repeat for 5 times. So we have to add everything in this palette container, in the palette container. So we have to attach everything we created until here into a palette container. That means in this here palette, what's happening here is, it is literally like adding like this div class as color box. When we click the generate palette button, this is what happens in the console. This will added here when we click here, the generate palette button. This the color box, and this color box will be arranged. All the things will be arranged in the color. This const create element and the class list all added, and the box style and text content will get filled in this color box division, and this color and this all the colors will be, the collected colors will be arranged in a palette division, that is main container. That's all. We will delete this. We don't need this. So palette container, to add an thing into a main container or any other ID, we have to add an property method called append child. by this method we can add anything. And what are we appending? The box. So what we are doing is this, as I said, when we add another division element, whenever we add anything inside a division, it is a child of that element. So here in the main container division, h1 is a child, and this division is an element, and button is also an element, and the script is an element of the whole body. So that's how it works. So that as now we have wrote the code. So now I reload. When I click, the color palette will be generated. See, it is generated. When I click another time, see, when I clicked another time, I already wrote the palette container should be empty. So when I click this will be emptied, and another next color code will be entered. So it is 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Fifth don't exist, the condition become false, so sixth box don't exist. So that's how the for loop we will be using in most cases for generate these kinds of problems and these kinds of tasks to execute this kind of tasks, and it is an extremely useful thing. For loop and while loop will be difficult to understand at the beginning, because that I faced that difficulty. So when you practice frequently, whenever you get a chance, it will become easier when you practice a lot. So that's what I am doing too. So I think I explained this what I did correctly. So consider subscribing and liking if you like my work, and consider sharing also. So I will meet you guys in the next session. Thank you.